Hey guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. Welcome back to my channel and thank you. Thank you. We're almost at 9,000 guys. I can't believe it. I am just one in this large community and I'm so grateful to be a part of this community. So thank you so much. Guys, coercive control refers to a pattern of coercive and controlling behavior that precedes, motivates, and increases the likelihood of physical violence in relationships. Guys, there's a law that's trying to be passed, or people are wanting to promote this law called MICA'S law, and it's after Mica Miller, And what I found out, and I'm going to play you a video of this, is that the law that people want to create is a law that's already trying to be passed since 2020. Since February 2nd, 2020, it has been in a folder trying to be passed, but it is called the Coercive Control Bill. And I believe it was put together by somebody by the last name of Toole, believe it or not, Toole. So this is what the law should cover: where the perpetrator and victim are personally connected, situations that prevent people from isolation. I don't know how that would exactly look, because this stuff that happens, like what they're saying, Mica Miller, that she was literally driven to believe that she was crazy, that she was being followed even though she was being followed. She was totally gaslit. She was meant to, the word crazy is just something that we just willy-nilly throw out there. But to be certified, it prevents people from having control and taking control over the money, making somebody so much more superior in the relationship that the inferior party is in harm's way. When I was listening to this act, and again, when I was listening to what the bill was, and I can't do it justice, I am going to play the clip. I thought, man, I could think of a few people that I know that are guilty of that. And it's not funny. So if I know at least 2 or 3 people that are guilty of that, of coercive control, then imagine how many people really are, and to the extreme of what Mica Miller, we are to believe that Mica Miller went through. The thing about Mica Miller is JP Miller, right? So his ex-wife has come out and said, I don't want my children around him. They have still 2 younger children that are under the age of the majority, so they're under the age of 18. And his ex-wife, here's a woman that caught Mica and her husband at the time, JP Miller, having an affair. And she says that because Mica is no longer in the house, I don't want my children there because I don't feel like they are safe. She accuses and says that JP is a drug addict, that he abuses prescription drugs, that he has women over in front of the kids, that he speaks as if there's nothing. And this is a pastor, mind you. He's no longer, because they took his pastor card. But here was somebody who said that they were godly. Here's the thing. There are certain positions in life that you are to be a role model with. And pastor is one of them. Pastor is one of them. You could still be human, but you have to be human on the best scale possible of being human if you're going to represent God. Is that fair? Is that fair to say that we don't expect our pastors to commit adultery, considering it is one of the major sins in the Bible? Is it too much to ask for that? So JP Miller, who has committed sin after sin after sin, and has actually looked legitimately cuckoo You know, I put out that video that, I mean, not that I put it out. There were a lot of people that put out that video. I as well put out the video of him on the grass talking like a seal. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. I am to say, how dare he say Mica was unhinged? I mean, is that projection or what? I just don't. You have the mother of his children, 4 of his kids. 1 of his kids was out of wedlock. Again, you know, I don't think that being a pastor promotes that. So, but anyway, you can't write this. I'm just telling you, you can't write this. But it's true. So you got the mother of the 4 kids, that 2 are, you know, are younger, and she does not want her children around not only JP, but JP's dad, because you know that JP's dad, another pastor who has been accused, the accusations are legitimate, for SA in a third world country with children. So that's his dad. You can look him up, you know. And now you got JP, and he's a philanderer. His wife, you would think, would have such disdain for Mica, right? Because of her being younger, and her husband JP at the time leaving her for Mica. He didn't even, I don't even know that he wanted to leave her. He just was caught cheating, and she said, I've had enough. I don't want this. But she liked Mica. She liked Mica. And she allowed her children in the home with Mica because Mica was like a safety net for the kids. And now that Mica is no longer there, she doesn't want her children around their dad at all. She doesn't want them unless there are supervised visits. She does not trust JP with her children. His children too. What does that say about anything? Does that say, whoa, you know, what happened here? Now, we already know that JP had, and this is part of the coercive control too, which we have to listen to that. But you know that as a wife, she shared pictures of herself with her husband, who he later put online. This is again a pastor. This is not okay from anybody else. Even from a bartender, it's not okay. But from a pastor? And you know, here's the weird bit. Some people still follow this guy. So how could that be okay? Guys, let's listen to this coercive control, because I'm all for it. I think that it's, I don't know how they would go about seeing it. There's actually quite a bit of stuff on this. This is really fascinating. So guys, let me just read you a little bit about this, the coercive control. And the state's definitions of domestic abuse often cover household members or family members. However, some acknowledge the abuses can occur after a separation or involve members beyond the primary abuser. So remember that addressing coercive control is crucial, not only to reduce intimate partner homicides, but also to protect basic freedom and rights from within the relationship. In other words, somebody's not going to be able to control somebody else because of money. You understand? And that is something that I've seen, unfortunately, firsthand. So it's kind of putting people more on a leveled field. I don't know how that's going to look. You know, how that would look really inside of a home. It's just going to have to come out, and there's going to have to be people that allege it and then have proof of it. All right, guys, so many states have updated their domestic abuse legal definitions to include coercive control. For example, Hawaii's law specifies a wide range of behaviors that might be considered coercive control, including isolation, economic abuse, monitoring, degradation, verbal abuse, threats of harm, and more. Controlling or coercive behavior. It's a form of domestic abuse, and it can be just as devastating as somebody putting their hands on somebody, because this stays with you too. If you start taking away people's agencies, their freedom of their rights within the relationship and such like that, you're destroying somebody's soul. You know, and that's dangerous, and nobody has the right to do that. So I'm all for MICA'S law, or coercive control, or the coercive control law.
What is a coercive control bill? Coercive control refers to a pattern of behavior used by one person to dominate, manipulate, and intimidate another within an intimate or familial relationship. It encompasses acts such as assault, threats, humiliation, emotional abuse, and isolation. The goal is to harm, punish, and frighten your victim through fraudulent representation. It often refers to specific types of behavior. The Coercive Control Bill, Senate Bill 927, sitting in the Senate right now, offers a definition for coercive behavior. I have reviewed it. I agree. I am a lawyer, so I have some input on that. I agree with a lot of the things that are listed there, but I think they left out a few.
So it just protects the basic rights for relationships, and it's just being more and more considered as just as harmful abuse. If Mica Miller actually took her life, if she unalived herself, if that's what she did, then one of the beliefs in why she did that was because she was meant to be certifiable, you know, where she felt that that was the only way that she could find any peace, or she was being blackmailed or extorted in some way, shape, or form. But it shouldn't have even gotten this far. Had the laws have been in place for coercive control, the first thing that they could have got him on was the admission of the photos that he took and showed people, the fact that he admitted to following her around and having a tracer put on her car and having those tire punctured devices on the tires. So he admitted to that. So actually, he could have been in trouble as if he had put hands on her. That's what this law is supposed to do if the law ever gets done. Now, how many other names have to come into play so that, you know, it's not MICA'S law anymore. It's this person's law, or that person's law, or the person even before MICA. This is something that needs to happen because things have really gotten so out of hand. And when we come to a place like we are in the Mica Miller situation, where we scratch our heads and ask what happened, but we clearly see the coercive control throughout. I mean, you got to remember, she was 14 years old when she felt he started, you know, grooming her. I mean, of course, hindsight's 20/20, but when you have so many people, and you know, and some of these people are your ex-wife that, and your children, looking out for the best interest of your kids, say that you're dangerous, you know. So I'm all for this. I think that it's something that will protect. It's not every abuse is something that can be physically seen or is a physical problem. So we got to take care of each other, even if we decide that we don't want to be with that person. You know, we still, there's a right way to leave somebody, and there's a right way to be left and to accept that. You know? So, all right, guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. Tell me what you think. You always do. And I communicate in the chats too, in the comments. In the comments. All right, guys. I'll see you next time. Please like, subscribe, and share. We don't bite unless you want us to. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I'm always hungry. Thanks, guys. Be better today than you were yesterday, not half as good as you'll be tomorrow. Always be kind. Thank you.